Hello guys, welcome to the video. Today I am going to start Animal Kingdom part 3, that is from an arthropoda. Um, if you have not seen Animal Kingdom part 1, please go through it first and then come to this video, because many of the words I have well explained in part 1, so I am not going to repeat them in part 3. Then starting the topic, phylum Arthropoda. This is the largest phylum of Animalia, which includes insect. Over two-thirds of all named species on the earth are arthropoda. Okay, so the first point is that it is the largest phylum. Okay, largest phylum. Over two-thirds of all the named species on the earth are arthropoda. See, they are showing how big the phylum arthropoda is. Over the two-thirds of the animals, okay, kingdom consists of mainly 9 phylums, okay, and among those 9 phylums also, 9 to 10 phylums also, arthropoda animals are, like the named animals are two-third, which belong to phylum arthropoda. Okay, so they are showing how big is this kingdom. Okay, sorry, not kingdom, phylum. They have organ system level of organization. Okay, the first point is organ system level of, okay, sorry, organization. Then they are bilaterally symmetry, they are triploblastic, they are segmented coelomate animals. The body of arthropoda is covered by chitinous exoskeleton. Okay, so it is very important. Chitinous exoskeleton. Body consists of head, thorax and abdomen, which is very important again. Body is divided into head, thorax and abdomen. They have jointed appendages. Arthropoda means jointed appendages. This is a very important point. Arthropoda means jointed appendages. Okay, you should not forget this point. Oh, sorry. Then coming to the next point. See, jointed appendages. Arthro means joint, poda means appendages. So arthropoda means animals which are having jointed appendages. Okay, respiratory systems are gills. Sorry, respiratory organs are gills, book gills, book lungs, or tracheal system. Okay, so these are the mode of, sorry, not mode of respiration. They are respiratory organs. Okay, like some animals have gills, some animals have book gills, some animals have book lungs, and some animals have tracheal system of respiration. Okay, circulatory system is open type. If you don't know what you mean by open type, then please go to Animal Kingdom part 1. Okay, then sensory organs like antenna, eyes, that is compound or simple eyes. Okay, then statocytes or balancing organ are present. Okay, statocytes are the balancing organ. Okay, then excretion takes place through Malpighian tubules. They are mostly dioecious. Dioecious means they have male and female. Okay, fertilization is usually internal. They are mostly oviparous. Fertilization is internal means fertilization takes inside the body of animal. Okay, then development may be direct or indirect. Okay, then next there are examples. Okay, so in examples also, some insects are economically important. Okay, some insects are vector for diseases. Okay, and some other like important points are also given in example, which will go through okay, which will go but later. Now like if you have understood the phylum arthropoda, so shall I revise? Okay, before revising, see, there are, oh sorry, there are many points over here. Okay, like bilateral asymmetry, organ system level of organization. Okay, then triploblastic, then segmentation, then coelomate. Okay, and then uh, open type of circulation. These all terms I have explained in Animal Kingdom part 1. I am saying it repeatedly because if you just go through them directly, you won't understand. You need to know the meaning in very depth. Okay, and I have explained these meanings very correctly. Okay, in Animal Kingdom part 1, please go through it. Okay, so revising the phylum arthropoda. First thing, they are the largest phylum. Okay, then they have organ system level of organization. Okay, before going through this, first meaning the no, sorry, first knowing the meaning of arthropoda. Arthro means jointed and poda means appendages. That means the animals bearing jointed appendages come under phylum arthropoda. Okay, so for the first point is their largest kingdom. Okay, they have organ system level of organization. They are bilateral symmetry. They are triploblastic. Okay, then they are segmented. They are coelomate animals. Okay, and then they have chitinous exoskeleton. This is very important. You can't forget this. Okay, some have calcareous exoskeleton. Okay, here this have chitinous exoskeleton. Okay, then the body consists of head, thorax and abdomen. That means it is divided into head, thorax and abdomen. Okay, they have jointed appendages. The main meaning of arthropoda is jointed appendages. Okay, then respiratory organs. Okay, in some animals it is gills, some animals have book gills, some have book lungs and some have tracheal system of respiration. Okay, then circulatory system is open type. Then the sensory organs are antenna, eyes may be compound or simple. Okay, then statocytes, that means the balancing organ. Okay, the organ which is helping for the balancing of the organism. Okay, that is what is it, statocyte. Okay, cyst, oh, sorry, not site, cyst. Then excretion takes place through Malpighian tubules. Okay, see in NEET exam they make you match the following kind of questions. Okay, some like 3 to 4 phylums will be given, and then their excretory system. Okay, excretion, so excretory system like Malpighian tubules. Okay, then there are flame cells. Okay, so these all you need to remember. Okay, and then in what is this, arthropoda, it's Malpighian tubule. Okay, mostly they are dioecious. Fertilization takes place through fertilization is internal, and they are oviparous. Oviparous means egg laying animals. Okay, so here it is internal fertilization and they are mostly oviparous. Okay, development is direct or indirect. Okay, then examples: economically important insects. Apis means honeybee. Okay, honeybee is very much important. Okay, so here in honeybee, like I'll give a bit, like a bit 4 to 5 lines of explanation. Honeybee, in honeybee also we have 3 types of honeys. Okay, bees. Okay, not honeys. We have 3 types of bees. First one is the queen bee. Okay, and then the male bee, and then the worker bee. The queen bee will be always inside the honeycomb. Okay, it won't come out. It's like a captive, but still it is called as queen bee. Okay, it will be always inside the honeycomb. Okay, it won't do any work. The only work of queen bee is to reproduce. Okay, and then there are thousands of worker bees. Okay, whichever bee you see, okay, outside, it's a worker bee only. Okay, the thing is that worker bees are females only, but they are infertile. They are infertile female honeybees. Okay, and they can't reproduce. So they, what the work of these worker bees, it's only for collecting the honey. Okay, it just collects the honey and then do the honeycomb. And the male is also for just to reproduce. Okay, uh, it just reproduces and then dies off. And then the female gives rise to no, like it gives it lays eggs also. And then like males are born. Okay, and then the worker bees are also born. Okay, this is honeybee. Okay, the economic importance of honeybee is like, first thing is honey, and also the bee wax. Okay, the bee wax is used for cosmetics. Then bombax, that is silkworm, that is the very costly material. Okay, the cloth material, silk. Then laxifer, that is lac insect. Then vector anopheles. Okay, these are mosquitoes. Okay, types of Aedes, anopheles and culex. These are types of mosquitoes, malaria, dengue and all. Then gregarious pest is locust. Okay, or locusta. This is gregarious pest. And then the living fossil is king crab, that is limulus. Okay, so you need to remember gregarious pest and living fossil. Both of them are very important. They may come in NEET also. or maybe 1 mark question for your theory exam also. Then coming, okay, the diagrams are given over here. Locust, the what is locust? That is a what is it? Gregarious pest. Okay, it almost all no, yeah, it is locust. Then what is this? Butterfly, isn't it? Butterfly. This is scorpion, and this is prawn. These are the diagrams. Okay, these are the animals which belong to arthropoda. Just why? Just because they have jointed appendages. Then coming to mollusks. Mollusca. Okay, this is the second largest phylum in animal kingdom. Okay, mollusca are terrestrial. Molluscans are terrestrial or aquatic, marine or freshwater, having an organ system level of organization. First thing, they may be terrestrial, they may be aquatic, or okay, in aquatic also they may be marine or freshwater. Okay, then organ system level of organization, they are bilaterally symmetry, triploblastic, then coelomate animals. Body is covered by calcareous shells. Okay, see there it was something else, but here it is calcareous shells. Okay, in is unsegmented. Okay, here there is no segmentation, with a distinct head, muscular foot, and visceral hump. Okay, there is distinction between head, muscular foot, and visceral hump. These are the body segment. But oh, okay, sorry. But over here it was head, thorax, and abdomen. Okay, and skeleton was chitinous exoskeleton. Here it is what is it? Calcareous shell. Okay, then head, muscular foot, and visceral hump. A soft and spongy layer of skin forms a mantle over the visceral hump. Okay, this is very important. Soft, spongy layer of skin forms the mantle over the visceral hump. The space between the hump and the mantle is called as mantle cavity. Okay, so these all are very, very important from here. Mantle cavity, in which uh, feather-like gills are present. They have respiratory and expiratory function. The anterior head region has sensory tentacles. The mouth consists of file-like rasping organs for feeding called radula. So this is important. Okay, and over here mouth contains file-like rasping organs for feeding called as radula. Okay, these are very important. Okay, so coming to phylum Mollusca, they are the second largest phylum. Okay, the molluscans may be terrestrial or may be aquatic. If they are aquatic, they are both marine and freshwater. That means they are live in both marine and freshwater, having an organ system level of organization. They have they are bilateral symmetry. They are triploblastic. Okay, and they are coelomate animals. Okay, it's very important. They are bilaterally, they are bilateral symmetrical, they are triploblastic, they have coelomate animals. Okay, and then they are also having body system level of organization, sorry, organ system level of organization. Then body has calcareous shell. Okay, this is also very, very important. Body has calcareous cell. Okay, and is unsegmented with a distinct head, muscular foot, visceral hump. Okay, there is head, there is muscular foot, and there is visceral hump. Okay, body is distinctly divided into head, muscular foot, and visceral hump. Okay, the body is generally very, very soft. Okay, the molluscans are soft bodied organisms. Okay, a soft and spongy layer of skin forms mantle over the visceral hump. Over visceral hump there is a mantle. Okay, the space between the hump and the mantle is called as mantle cavity. Okay, the soft and the spongy layer of skin forms the mantle over visceral hump. Okay, that means at the lowest level there is visceral hump. Okay, and then upon this visceral hump there is a layer of soft and spongy layer. Okay, spongy skin, that is called as mantle, and the space between the visceral hump, okay, and the mantle, okay, is called as mantle cavity. Okay, in which feather like gills are present. Okay, where was I? The space between mantle. Okay, in which the feather-like gills are present. Okay, they have respiratory and excretory function. Okay, these feather-like gills, okay, do respiration and excretion. The anterior head region has sensory tentacles. The anterior, not the posterior, the anterior head region has the sensory tentacles. The mouth contains file-like wrapping organ. Okay, the file-like wrapping organ for feeding called as radula. Okay, so some examples of molluscans are pilli and octopus. Octopus, as you already know, and one more very big fact about octopus is they are very intelligent organism. Okay, they can solve any kind of riddle in just matters of minutes. Okay, then this is pilli. Next, coming to the okay, so one more line is left over here. They are usually dioecious and oviparous with indirect development. Okay, they are dioecious, they are oviparous with indirect development. Next examples are pilli, that is the apple snake. Okay, and then pearl oyster. Okay, and this molluscan. Okay, this pearl, the animal which produces pearls. Okay, in the deep oceans and all. This animal also belong to molluscans only. Okay, and then the cuttlefish. Okay, the devilfish. Okay, octopus is commonly known as devilfish. Okay, but from our childhood only we have learned it is called as octopus. Okay, and some others. Okay, so starting with phylum Echinodermata, these animals have endoskeleton of calcareous ossicles. Okay, this is a very important point. Endoskeleton of calcareous ossicles, and hence the name Echinodermata. Spiny bodied. Okay, Echinodermata means spiny bodied organism. Okay, all are marine. Okay, so they are exclusively marine. Organ system level of organization. Okay, adult echinoderms are radially symmetry, but the larval are bilaterally symmetry. This is a very important point over here. The adults are radial symmetry, and the larval stage have bilateral symmetry. Okay, they are triploblastic. Good. Okay, they are coelomate animals. Digestive system is complete. Okay, so here the digestive system is complete with mouth and a lower anus. Okay, on the upper surface, that is the dorsal surface. Okay, the most distinct feature of echinoderm is presence of water vascular system. This is a very important system in echinoderms, that is water vascular system, which helps in locomotion. Exactly, it helps in locomotion, capture and transport of food and respiration. An excretory system is absent. Okay, sexes are separate. Okay, reproduction is sexual, fertilization is usually external, development is indirect, and free swimming larva. Okay, so the very famous example of echinoderm is starfish. Okay, so phylum Echinodermata. Echinoderms means the organisms which have spiny body. Okay, they have spines all over their body, so they are called as echinoderms. The spiny bodied organisms are called as echinoderms. They have endoskeleton of made up of calcareous ossicles. Okay, endoskeleton is made up of calcareous ossicles. Okay, all are marine. Okay, they are exclusively marine. Okay, with organ system level of organization. Organ system level of organization. And the symmetry is very interesting in these echinoderms. The adults are showing radial symmetry. Radial symmetry means, okay, any plane passing through the center axis of the organism can cut it into two equal paths. Okay, so this is radial symmetry. Okay, the adults are showing radial symmetry, but the larval form, okay, the larval form is showing bilateral symmetry. Okay, so here we mentioned they have larval form. That means they have indirect type of development. Okay, they are showing indirect type of development. Then they are triploblastic. They are coelomate animals. Digestive system is complete. Okay, what do you mean by digestive system is complete? They have a mouth and they have an anus. Okay, that means they have two openings, one for input and another for the output. Then okay, so here they have mentioned where the mouth is present and where the anus is present. Digestive system is complete with mouth on the lower, that is the ventral surface, and the anus at the upper surface, that is the dorsal surface. Then the most distinct feature of echinoderm is the presence of water vascular system. Okay, which helps in locomotion, capture and transport of food and respiration. Okay, this water vascular system, okay, you can learn in very much detail in your higher classes, like if you go to degree and all. Okay, but for class 11 it's just to mention about water vascular system. What is the use of water vascular system? First thing, it is locomotion, okay, and also for transport of food and respiration. Then excretory system is absent. Sexes are separate. Reproduction is by sexual methods. Fertilization is usually external, that means outside the body of an organism. Then development is indirect. Okay, uh, in the upper statement also I had mentioned the larva is present, that means it is indirect kind of development with a free swimming larva. It is not sessile, it is free living. Okay, then example, the very common example is starfish. Then coming to the next phylum, that is Hemichordata. Hemichordata was earlier considered as a subphylum under phylum Chordata, but now it is placed separately under separate phylum under non-chordata. This phylum consists of small group of worm-like marine animals. Okay, so they are worm-like and they are marine animals with organ system level of organization. They are bilateral symmetry, triploblastic and coelomates. Okay, the body is cylindrical and is composed of an anterior proboscis, a collar, okay, sorry, and a long trunk. Circulatory system is open type. Okay, respiration takes place through gills. Okay, and then excretory system is proboscis gland. Sexes are separate. Fertilization is external and development is indirect. So hemichordata, so there is not much about hemichordata. First thing it was, like earlier it was considered under phylum chordata, but now they are keeping it under non-chordates. Okay, a separate phylum under non-chordates. Okay, so this phylum has small worm-like animals. Okay, they usually they are marine animals. They have organ system level of organization. They are bilateral symmetry. They are triploblastic. They have coelomates. They are coelomates. Body is cylindrical and composed of an anterior proboscis, a collar, and a long trunk. The body is generally divided into proboscis, a collar, and a trunk. Okay, and then the circulation is open type. Respiration takes place through gills. Okay, excretion organ is proboscis gland. Sexes are separate. Okay, that means female and male are separate. They are not. Female and the male reproductive system are not present in the same organism. Fertilization is external and indirect kind of development is seen. So this is about phylum Hemichordata. Okay, then okay, sorry. Then coming to the phylum Chordata. Animals belonging to phylum Chordata are fundamentally characterized by the presence of notochord, the dorsal hollow nerve cord, and the paired pharyngeal gill slit. And there is another like the distinct character of phylum Chordata, they have post anal tail. They did not mention over here, but post anal tail is very important. I'll write over here, and post anal tail. Okay, This is very important. You should remember post-anal tail is also a distinctive feature of phylum Chordata. What are the distinctive feature or the like the animals of the animals which belong to phylum Chordata are characterized by they have a notochord, they have a dorsal hollow nerve cord, and paired pharyngeal gill slits, and also a post-anal tail. Okay, then they are bilaterally symmetry. They are bilaterally symmetrical triploblastic coelomates with organ system level of organization. They possess a post-anal tail and a closed circulatory system. So, see the main points are they have hollow nerve cord, paired pharyngeal gill slits. अरे यार and a post-anal tail, and also what is this? A notochord. A notochord, a dorsal hollow nerve cord, pharyngeal gill slits, and also post-anal tail. Apart from this, okay, they are bilaterally symmetrical. Oh shit, what is this? They are bilaterally symmetrical. They are triploblastic. They are coelomates with organ system level of organization. They have a post-anal tail with a closed circulatory system. This is very important. They don't have open circulatory system. They have closed circulatory system. Then the presence of table 4.1 presents a comparison of salient features of chordata and non-chordates. So table 4.1, going through it. Chordates, okay, the first thing is that the presence of notochord. Yes, it's very much correct. As I had said, the distinct feature, okay, notochord is present. Okay, in non-chordates it's totally opposite. Notochord is absent. The central nerve system is dorsal, hollow, and single. Okay, the exact opposite is there. The central nervous system is present, but it is ventral in the case of non-chordates, and it is solid. But in the case of chordates, it is hollow. But in the case of non-chordates, it is solid, and it is double. In the case of chordates, it is single. Then pharynx perforated by gill slits. Gill slits are absent. Here the gill slits are present. They are perforated by pharynx. Okay, but here gill slits are absent only. Then the heart is ventral. Their heart is dorsal if present. Some animals have, some animals don't have. And then a post-anal tail is present, but here the post-anal tail is totally absent. Okay, then phylum Chordata is divided into three subphyla: Urochordata or Tunicata, Cephalochordata, and Vertebrata. Okay, Urochordata and Cephalochordata are also called as, both together are called as protochordates. Okay, so in a kind you can say that phylum Chordata is divided into protochordata and vertebrata, and then protochordata is again divided into Urochordata and Cephalochordata. Okay, it's a way of saying, or else directly you can say it is divided into three subphylums. That is, phylum Chordata is divided into Urochordata, Cephalochordata, and Vertebrata. Subphylum Urochordata and Cephalochordata are often referred as protochordata and are exclusively marine. Okay, they are exclusively marine. In Urochordates, notochord is present only in the larval tail. Okay, while in Cephalochordata, it extends from head to tail region and persists throughout their life. Okay, so the main difference between Urochordata and Cephalochordata is that in Urochordata, the notochord is present, but it is present at the time of larval stage only, and also in larval stage it is present only in the tail region. Okay, so it is present in the tail region of the larva. Okay, and then in Cephalochordata it is extended from the head to the tail and also persists throughout the life. Okay, so this is difference between Urochordata and Cephalochordata. Okay, and some examples are given over here. Then going to the next para, the members of subphylum Vertebrata possess possess notochord during the embryonic period. Okay, now coming to vertebrata, we all are vertebrates, humans are vertebrates. Okay, so studying about ourselves, the members of subphylum vertebrata possess notochord during the embryonic stage. Very important point. Now we don't have notochord. Okay, we had notochord when we are in the our mother's womb, that is in the embryonic stages. In the embryonic stages, okay, we had a notochord. The notochord is replaced by a cartilaginous or a bony vertebral column. Okay, now we have a bony vertebral column. Okay, so uh, in embryonic stages we have notochord, but later replaced by a vertebral column. Okay, in adult, thus all vertebrates are chordates, but all chordates are not vertebrates. This is a very important statement. All vertebrates are chordates, but all chordates are not vertebrates. Okay, are you getting it? All vertebrates are chordates, but all chordates are not vertebrates. See, we humans are vertebrates and also we are chordates. Okay, are you getting it? And the exact opposite is with the animals which belong to protochordata. Then, besides the basics of chordate characters, vertebrates have ventral muscular heart with 2, 3, or 4 chamber. Okay, we all that means the members belonging to vertebrata have all the characters of chordates, and along with this they have some additional characters, like they have a ventral muscular heart with 2, 3, or 4 chambered heart, kidneys for excretion, okay, and excretion and osmoregulation, and paired appendages which may be fins or limbs. Okay, we have a muscular heart which may be 2, 3, or 4 chambered. We have kidney for excretion and osmoregulation. Okay, and a paired appendages which may be fins or limbs. We have limbs. Okay, we humans have limbs. Then coming to the next part, the subphylum vertebrata is further divided as follows. Okay, so seeing about the division of phylum vertebrata, sorry, the subphylum vertebrata. So subphylum vertebrata is divided into, okay, two branches, that is Agnatha and Gnathostomata. Okay, in bracket they have given us what do you mean by Agnatha and Gnathostomata. Agnatha are those organisms which don't have jaw. Okay, jaw is the like in we humans it is a bony structure which in which the teeth are embedded. Okay, that we call as jaw. Okay, in Agnatha these jaws are absent, they don't have jaw. Okay, in this Agnatha there is only one class, that is Cyclostomata. Okay, and then coming to the another part of another branch of subphylum vertebrata, that is Agnathostomata, that means which have, sorry, not Agnathostomata, Gnathostomata. The other branch is Gnathostomata which has jaw, that means these are animals which have jaw, they are jaw bearing animals. Then there are super classes, that is the Pisces and the Tetrapoda. Pisces means they have fins, okay, and in Tetrapoda they have limbs. Okay, here they had said us. What did they say? See, the last point mentions us about the paired appendages, that may be fins or limbs. Okay, so on the basis of paired appendages they are divided, like Pisces and Tetrapoda. Okay, Pisces have like it's for fishes. Pisces is for fishes. Okay, these have fins as their locomotory organ. Okay, Tetrapoda means they have limbs. Okay, in this the classes are, there are mainly four classes, that is amphibian, reptilia, apes, and mammals. Amphibians like frogs and all, reptiles the snakes and all, apes, okay, the birds, and the mammals which we are. So this is the division of vertebrata. Okay, so recalling it, vertebrata is divided into Agnatha and Gnathostomata. Agnatha is having only one class, that is class Cyclostomata. Gnathostomata has like two divisions, that is two super classes, that is Pisces and Tetrapoda. Pisces is those animals which have fins, and Tetrapoda which have limbs. And then in Pisces also there are two classes. That Tetrapoda there are four classes, that is Amphibia, Reptilia, Aves, and Mammals. Okay, now we'll in the next class we'll continue the classes and all. So if you have liked my explanation, please like the video, subscribe, share, and comment. If you have any doubts, okay, you can comment it down. Okay, and if you want the detailed explanation of phylum Chordata, once again you can please comment it down. I will explain phylum Chordata in a very broad manner, okay, so that you can understand it very easily. If you have liked the video, please subscribe. Thank you.